My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2, and I'm going to talk about some uh, touchy subject matter. So, if you're a child, I would advise you not to watch this video. If you are 14 and up, it's fine. I'm going to try to keep the language down to a minimum of maybe one or two cuss words if I can help it. And I want to talk about, not my weekend, but some events in my weekend, more or less. Go see Thor Ragnarok. But anyway, um, this is a more important content subject. And, you children are going to learn about this as you get older. And I would rather you stay a kid instead of deal with adult issues. Now, without that, furthermore, let's begin. Okay, so we got to the intro. Y'all know who my name is. Alright, so I binge watched the hell out of The Real. Alright, I made a video before. I watched The View also, but I did watch The Real. I watched the shit out of The Real. And I want to say, first, shout out to the ladies of The Real. Thank you for giving me my subject matter. Now, what I'm going to talk about is like the truth. If you've ever watched one of my acting videos, you'll understand when I start talking about how hard it is to break into this business when you're a person of color. You'll know where I'm coming from, and how either America doesn't want it or refuse to have it, where there are no TV shows outside of Fresh Off the Boat. Because I just found out not too long ago that Dr. Ken was canceled, and that hurt my feelings because I really loved that fucking show. Shame on you, ABC, but only for letting the show get canceled. I mean, you guys could have like somehow saved it, put it on a different night or whatever. But anyway, I can't really blame ABC for it. Whatever happened, happened. As an actor, I understand that shows get canceled and you move on to the next project. And the way I discovered that is that I seen the kid from Dr. Ken that plays his son on a totally different show on a totally different network, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. I was trying to keep that language down, but that was my reaction. So it's been said. I can't take it back. It flew out my mouth. So I believe it was Jeannie Mai who said it. So I'm going to re-say it, that there are Asian roles given to non-Asian people. All right, which means they give them to white people instead of finding someone like me who could pass as an Asian. Because people keep thinking I'm Hawaiian, but I'm actually Cherokee, Indian, as well as black, as well as white. And what people fail to understand that Native Americans are Asian. All right, it's in one of the law books and the rule books. Go ahead, look it up. I had to have this proven to me by my friend who was Korean, whose dad is a preacher. And if I had to eat a hat, that would have been the day that I would have had to eat a hat. So anyway, moving on. What Jeannie had said was that there aren't enough Asians on TV and how she keeps getting mistaken for Brenda Song. Now, I think Jeannie's a little taller than Brenda Song. I don't think they look that much alike, but they're both very beautiful women. All right? Very beautiful women who apparently have men that I will never be able to date them. All right? And outside of her, the Asian chick from Glee. All right? Or the Asian chick from Scorpion. One show has at least one Asian in it, and then they pointed out that Daniel Day Kim left Hawaii Five-0 because he was Asian, but he wasn't making any money, and I don't know if that's why Grace Park left, but those were the reasons why I watched Hawaii Five-0. Okay? Let's keep it real. They had one black guy, two token Asians, and everyone else was white. I love Hawaii Five-0, and I don't have anything against Asian people, but I think that there should be more Asian people and people like me who are mixed on TV. And there's not, which is why in my independent film career, which is like non-existent, I put all my scripts together so that a person like me could have a multicultural family. I could have a Native American father, or a Chinese father, a black mother, or a Native American father, or a Native American mother. I'm of Native American descent. Most people don't even think I'm black, so I make sure that one of my parents is black. The other one is either going to be white or of an Asian descent of somewhere. So all my scripts have that. The problem is that I don't have the revenue to pay actors to put this thing together and make this shit happen. The other problem is that there's a studio here who distributes movies but won't make movies. And had they had decided to make movies back when I was 27 years old, which is like 17 years ago and some change because I'm 44 now, but I've been trying to get into this business since I was 27, and I have failed epically. But there are no stories with mixed families. There are no stories where the hero is of multiculturalness. Now, they happen in video games all the time. There's, Far Cry, where the guy's supposed to be half Thai, and half white, and he has to come back to Thailand and fight, and it's first person, so I don't really play it, but I've watched my nephews play it, and I'm not really into first person games, but I have scripts that can be made into games. Any takers? I have stories of a guy who's me, who can walk in both worlds because I've had to walk in both worlds in my life. Now, the problem is Hollywood doesn't have enough Asian writers. Hollywood doesn't have or want enough Asian writers. There are not enough black writers. And Lonnie put it out there, you may see 4 token black people and you may see 10 Hispanic people. Now, here's the thing on that, so that you guys need to understand this. Alright, if you are Hispanic, I have some bad news for you. It's actually kind of good news, but if you are of any of the following tribes: Aztec, Incan, Mayan, and any South American Mexicano tribes, guess what? Your ass is actually Asian. Now, if you want proof of that, you'll have to do what I had to do and go back and get a goddamn book, not Google, and read Native American history and how they came from Asia and splintered once they hit Alaska. Some stayed in Russia, and they splintered into the coldest parts of Russia. Those are Eskimos. Eskimos moved from Russia to Alaska and splintered all through the coldest regions of Alaska. Those are Asians, and those are Eskimos. The rest of us broke off into many different tribes. Now, the ones that went to Iceland and Canada, Iceland ones, they're still Eskimos because they're right up at the North Pole. They're right there. They're at the top of the world. They're there. They're Eskimos, which are also Asians. Now, if you go further down, the tribe splintered from the Manhattan to the Seminole, all the way down from the Creek to the Cherokee, and the Cherokees all over the place too. They got around. Then the further out west, you have Lakota and Hopi and so many more. There's a list. You guys can break them down into fractions and factions. And yes, Mexicans are Native Americans. I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but the only reason you speak Spanish is because of Cortez conquering your nation, which is the only reason why most tribes speak English is because of the Europeans conquering our nation. Now, for some odd reason, Hollywood doesn't think it's cool to write stories about tribal legends. There's been one movie about the Deer Woman, but they haven't given us the whole story. There's never been a movie about Coyote the Trickster. There's never been a movie about the Thunderbird. And I have scripts about the Yeti and the Thunderbird and Coyote, and I've wrote a whole graphic novel on this stuff, and I'm looking for a publisher as we speak. Now, the problem is that no one in Hollywood wants to do this. Now, shout out to Francis, damn it, why can't I think of your name? Francis Wu. I'm probably not saying it right. The mom from Fresh Off the Boat, because she made a big stink about the movie The Wall, or The Great Wall, where they had Matt Damon, a white man in Asia, fighting dragons. Now, I'm not knocking Matt Damon. I would love to work with Matt Damon one day. That shit's never going to happen, so let's stop dreaming right there. But, I understand where she's coming from as a person of color, but I also understand that people want to sell movies, so they try to get the best actors that they can to fit the role. Now, I will even go as far as the lady from The Gifted that plays Blink. She has mentioned, they didn't. She clearly read comic books before she got the role, and she's like, "Why do you want me to play Blink if Blink is a Caucasian girl and I'm an Asian girl?" All right. Well, maybe they just wanted to change it up because both Marvel and DC have been thrown under the bus collegiately for not having enough diversity in their cast. And depending on what universe you want to be in, Blink could be an Asian girl. They turned Psylocke from a European to an Asian girl, and it sold more comics. But the reason that it sold more comics is because Psylocke became more deadly when she got into the body of Riwan. No, I did not say that right. But anyway, when she became Asian, people loved her more. And then when they killed her, people were mad. Then when they brought her back, and then they brought back the European Psylocke, and they fought for supremacy, and the Asian Psylocke won, the other Psylocke died from the legacy virus, etc., etc. So people were really in love with Asian Psylocke for quite some time, except for the fact that she was a horny heifer, and she kept trying to have an affair with Scott Summers and them before when they went into space to bring Xavier back. It's a long story. We're not going to go there. But anyway, I do have those comics somewhere. But the whole concept is, a lot of superheroes have been, um, comic books in general have been thrown on the bus for primarily being white characters. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I love Grifter. I hope he stays white. I love Zealot. I hope she stays white. Jim Lee's an Asian man who wrote them as white people. Okay? So, you kind of got to go with how you feel when you create a character. Most of my characters are Asian, or half Asian and half black. I know I will never be light enough to be white. Good enough? And I can play a Cherokee because I have been insulted in many of places where people have said, hey, are you Mexican? Or hey, are you Filipino? Or anything but black. I have filled out jobs where I go to mark black and they have looked at me and asked me if I'm sure. And in Virginia, it's a right to work state and it's a right to fire state. If you lie on your application, that's implications for them to have the right to fire you. So I always put black because my birth certificate says black. And though I'm multicultural, my birth certificate says black, so I put black. I don't ask any questions. I was born in 1973. It's like, okay, it says black or other. And I always mark black. And they're like, oh, Mr. Williams, are you sure you're black? It's like, well, my father's father was black, and my mother's father's father was black. So I'm pretty sure I'm black. But I get that a lot. Now, being used to that, I move forward. I don't let it get me down. I will say, when I got in trouble in school one time, and my mom came to school, and everybody seen how light she was, because my mom could pass for white. And hell, in my 40s, I've lost my mom in a crowd of white people, so I started nicknaming her Premium Blend. And I've lost her on more than one occasion. I've lost her in Scottsville twice, and I've lost her in the CVS on 5th Street in Charlottesville at least once. And she stood between a tall white man and a taller than her Asian woman, and she blended right in. And I was in a panic because I'm like, my mom dies in this fucking store. That's going to be hell. Because they're not going to let me get near her. They're not going to think I'm her child because we don't look the same. So, and the thing about generations, someone in each side of my family has more Native American genes than the other. Whether it be our hair. My hair is naturally curly. I have enough royal crown in my hair to slick a streak. And, when other siblings don't have as much Native American features as I do, and then some of them have more white features, because my brother could pass for a white man with a tan, and one of my sisters could pass for a white girl with a tan, and their children are exceptionally light. So, it varies. And we have, our family's like blended in the color scale. Trust me. It's my true colors up here. But I refuse to wear long sleeve shirts unless it's exceptionally cold. So, I have to have arm freedom, Now, you'll never see me in a pair of shorts unless I'm at the beach, and they won't be short shorts. They won't be Speedos or any of that shit. They won't be that sock thing that I've seen that goes around your shoulder and I guess it comes between the crack of your ass and cups your shit. I don't know what that is, but you'd have to pay me a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, to walk anywhere wearing that damn thing. And I don't know how you could avoid catching an erection if the wind blows with that thing on, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. Basically, it looked like it would be a bra for a chick, but it goes on your dick. Alright? I don't know what it's called. But again, you'd have to pay me a hell of a lot of money to rock that. Plus, I have a big ass scar on my ass from a hip replacement. So I prefer not to show that to people. But it is what it is. Now, since we don't have these writers in Hollywood, I would advise you all to look to the independent film circuit, which is what I'm doing. I'm independently filming. I can't do kung fu movies right now, and that fucking sucks, and I'm about to be 45 years old at the end of 2018. So I would love for my career to take off, like, right now. I'm ready to do the damn thing. The problem is, I'm like the Carlos Santana of independent films. I'm waiting for you guys to catch up with me. I'm too old to slow down, so you guys need to speed the fuck up. I'm sorry, that was another cuss word. But the thing is, not having revenue, not having my own studio has been the main problem. Because I have the scripts. All I need is the payroll and the crew and a studio, and I'm good to go. If I hit the lottery tomorrow, I'll never work another day. Because the first damn thing I'm doing is buying a studio. I don't care where. If we have land in Nelson County, if my family okays it, I'll fucking put the studio right fucking there, and I'll never leave that motherfucker. Ever. Never leave that motherfucker. Ever. I would be working 24 hours a day. I will probably fall asleep eventually, but I will be so jazzed up just to be working on a fucking film project because I haven't been able to film since I came home from the army, and that kind of sucks because my hip replacement has like totally wiped me out from any chance of doing what I really wanted to do, which was kung fu movies, because I wanted to be known for my kung fu movies for the rest of my life. And apparently, no one's watching them, so there it is. Here I am at Kung Fu Havoc #2, and this is not supposed to be what it has become. It is not supposed to be a basic chat line. No, because that's basically what it is. Oh yeah, I show some Mass Effect videos from Mass Effect Andromeda. I have an in 7-day video that I'm going to air tonight or tomorrow. And it kind of sucks ass that I can't do what I would love to do for the rest of my life. And I did get some advice from a local, very well known actress to become an artist, but it's kind of hard to become an artist when what you want to do is right there at your grasp and you just can't reach it. And that kind of sucks. So, back on track. There are now multicultural families on TV. There are no full-blown Asian families on TV except for Fresh Off the Boat, and I salute you guys. And then every network has at least one Asian. And then for DC Comics, the TV shows, they have the Martian Manhunter, who's black. No, so thank you for that. In the Flash, they turned the whole West family black. So thank you for that. And they have Cisco, who's Hispanic or Asian. And they have Gypsy, and they had Danny Trejo on there last week. So thank you. You have Firestorm, who is black now, but they did that off the B-52s, the new 52s. And then you have Arrow, and now he's black. John Deagle is now Arrow, so he's no longer Spartan. So I don't know how the hell that's swinging into play, but I'm grateful for that. In Humans, they have one black character on there that's the main character, who is Gorgon, which is great, And I'm happy that these shows are being more diverse. And, you have Luke Cage if you have Netflix, so you have your people. But I'm going to say this because, one, I do need a job. Two, I would love to work for ABC. I would love to be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because that's my favorite Marvel show. I would love to be on Inhumans, but I really don't want to be an Inhuman because if truth be told, if I had to have a choice between being an X-Man on The Gifted or being an Inhuman, I'm going to have to go with being an X-Man. I'm sorry. I'm always going to be an X-Man fan. The problem is, John's already taken. Now, unless they want to bring me in as James Warpath, and he's going to be Thunderbird, that would be fine, but we don't look enough alike. I'm, probably way too dark. And the guy that's playing him, he's way too light, so, plus he might actually be an Apache, and I'm only half Cherokee, so the shit might not work out. So, the only other Native American I could probably play would be Forge, but he's Cheyenne, and I'm not Cheyenne. It plays to know your character's ethnic background. John Proudstar is who I kept trying to say. I couldn't get his name right. It was in there. It's just locked up. John Proudstar and James Proudstar are Apaches. Thunderbird was John. Warpath was James. Eventually, James does become Thunderbird because the real Thunderbird died on his maiden mission in the first X-Men comic book that he was in. He died. Banshee wasn't fast enough to save him, etc., etc. But Hollywood has this issue that the world, America, doesn't center around having other families, or when they do have other characters. I'm sorry, this video is long running. When they have other characters, if they have an Asian character or a token black character, the black character is either the bad guy or he's the guy who talks ebonically. He doesn't have brain capacity, or he talks in a asinine accent that makes us all look fucking retarded. And then, I'm sorry, another cuss word. And then the Asian character is always a martial artist or whatever. And that's fine. It's not a big deal. I know a lot of Asians who know martial arts. I know a lot of Asians who don't know martial arts. It's just a matter of perception. And when you have the token Asian, you expect them to know martial arts because it's been culturally ingrained in the American's head that the Asian has to be the martial artist. All right, or if you want to go Mickey, was it Rooney, the little guy with the glasses who played the guy that pissed Bruce Lee off, and they taped his eyelids like this and made him wear glasses and say, "You get out of my store, I don't want no trouble." You know, they always have to play a store owner, or they have to be a restaurant owner, and they can't own a black restaurant like Chicken and Waffles. They have to own a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant where we can serve sushi on naked chicks. But they don't have any other thing. They can't have a shoe repair store. They can't have a dry cleaner. They can't have any of that stuff. And most of the time, they're always either going to be Korean or Chinese. No one really has a Japanese person. If they have a Japanese person or a Chinese person who runs a dojo, that's like A class typical. But this is the stereotyping in America that no one thinks it's not okay to have. You don't want to have an Asian guy running McDonald's. Asian people work at McDonald's. Go to Canada. Asian people work at McDonald's. Trust me. It was a very hot chick that worked at McDonald's that was Asian when I went there once. It was awesome. The problem is, I don't really like McDonald's. I only went in there because she was in there. Okay, that's pretty much the gist of that right there. Now, as far as other Asian restaurants in Canada, yeah, there are a lot of Asian people in Canada. There are a lot of Asian restaurants in Canada. Yeah, I frequently visited some Asian restaurants in Canada. Now, here in Virginia, in Charlottesville, there's a white dude that works for Chinese people at the 3-something Chinese thing right up on West Main Street. He delivers the food, and it probably shocks the shit out of people when a white dude brings Chinese food to them. But it does happen. It's not impossible to be a white man working in a Chinese restaurant. Here's reality. A job is a job. No matter your ethnicity, you can get a job anywhere. The problem is, we don't know if they're going to be talking about this Gaijin guy while he's working. So if you're going to work at an Asian restaurant, I would advise you to learn their language just in case they decide they want to talk about your mama. Now, I'm going to stick with this one little section real quick because, again, I owe this to Jeannie Mai. Jeannie Mai, once, like when the show first started, was cool and tripping and saying this, and I don't know if she was joking or if she was deadly serious, but either way, when she said that her mama Mai made sure that she learned both English and Vietnamese so that when you go to these nail salons and stuff, you will know if people are talking about you. It's like, oh, she got banyan. Only she'd be like, and I have no idea what the fuck that means. That was just like gibberish. And that's probably what it sounds like to us. And for them, they're like, yeah, this one, every time she comes in, her feet fucking reek. I'm sorry for the cussing. But, you have diversity. God knew what he was doing. Or, for those who are atheists, the Big Bang knew what it was doing. The Creator knew what it was doing. And I want you guys to understand, as an independent filmmaker, as an actor who has not ever had a full fucking ride or a shot or a chance at actually getting a decent role, that's me, this is what happens. You don't have enough Asian writers. You don't have enough multicultural people who have lived the lives that I've lived and can write about them, and you don't have anybody who's willing to give them a fucking job. And Hollywood is primarily white. Every now and again you have a token. You have a token Asian. You have a token black. You have a token Hispanic person. And most of the time, they aren't the ones writing the scripts. And until you get some script writers who have been deep in the ghetto, or deep in the bowels of China, they can write a story, or they ain't even gotta be that deep. They can be from South Compton and be from LA and be Asian and give you the Asian experience. And until you meet these guys, they don't walk down Chinatown and ask Chinese people what they want to see on TV. They don't go to Texas to Little Korea and ask them what they want to see. They don't go down to Southeast LA and ask Little Vietnam what they want to see. They don't ask these people. They don't come to Chinatown in New York and say, hey, so what would you like to see on TV? No. They don't sit there in a chair with a collective of people and decide what they're going to put on TV. They don't write these scripts because they don't have anyone to write these scripts. And most of the time, it's probably a big ass gamble that they don't want to take because they're afraid that they're going to have to pay actors mad money and then the show's going to be canceled within a year. But here's the thing, you're in the business of making movies, you're in the business of making TV shows. Try it out. No. Okay, Brandon Lee did 7 movies before his death and 1 TV show. Okay, bet you guys didn't know that, huh? Right? Alright, so the TV show technically was a TV movie, and it was Kung Fu. It was like the final Kung Fu before The Legend Continues came back. And in that, him and David Carradine had a fight scene. And Bruce Lee actually wrote the Kung Fu show for himself, but they gave it to David Carradine because he was passing. I don't know if David Carradine had any Native American or Asian in him at all, but for all TV purposes, he was the main antagonist. Alright, I'm at the 26-minute mark, so I'm going to make a part 2 to this. Alright? So that way we can continue this discussion.